doesn't travel well, you should never order it to go! I quit!
Ava finally reaches her breaking point. What can you say about Ava's reaction to seeing Ruby on the late night set?
Oh my God, it's so devastating. I just don't even know how she comes back from that.
She proposed to me first with Wolf Girl's ring.
Oh, how embarrassing. Oh God. No, 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 no.
It's so humiliating and just so sad, of course, because, Ava kind of gives up her functioning, healthy relationship to come back into this world that is really not nurturing in any way emotionally. So, yeah, it's pretty brutal.
And the whole meltdown scene in the writer's room, a fish was thrown. Why is that her breaking point where she just freaks out and decides to quit?
I think it all builds really beautifully, but I do think that I so empathize with Ava's feeling of frustration of just being kind of steamrolled by her writing staff. So yeah, I think it's always like the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's like just the tiniest last little thing that sends you over the edge,
She goes through a lot. I think, the all season, the mounting pressure of trying to get the show off the ground, her feud with Deborah, and the fact that Deborah says to her in episode 2, you're not the right person for this job. It isn't just that Deborah took the job off her away because Deborah was scared. Yes, it's partly that, but it's also that Deborah says, I don't believe you're right to lead this show. And so then from that point forward, Ava is coming from a place of trying to prove herself to Deborah, trying to prove she can do this job. And that's just it's hard enough to be creative every day and get a show off the ground. But when you have that in your mind, that someone thinks you're not cut out for it, and it's the person whose opinion you care about the most, and you're trying to prove them wrong, that's just so much to deal with. And then everything you see her deal with in that episode, from Deborah popping her balloons to having to reunite with an ex that she really loved, who she essentially left for Deborah and to go try to get this show. It's so much. And then also the pressures of trying to be a boss and manage in the way she would like to be managed, but also that being really difficult. It just kind of reaches a point where she can't take it anymore and she freaks
Throws
out.
the fish against the wall.
Throw the fish against the wall.
The fish.
As one is wont to do.
Yeah.
Ava finally reaches her breaking point, but what can you tell me about how she reacts to seeing Ruby on the late night show set?
It's really fraught because they obviously broke up kind of over Ava choosing to work for Deborah Vance again. So it's already a really loaded situation to have her on. But in this moment, Deborah and Ava still have friction. And so that's kind of used against her. We've been wanting to do that, honestly, for a while. We thought it'd be really funny to have Ruby, since she is an actress, come on the late night show and have that triangulation play out. While it's really hard for the character of Ava, I think it's really fun for Story to see what game Deborah gets to play with her.
And at the end of that episode, too, the two women seem to come to an actual truce, not like the one they agreed on before that. So how does the end of this episode kind of set up what's to come at the tail end of the season?
There's a lot of things that happen in that episode that sort of crack both Deborah and Ava open, and allow them, I think, to have sort of an emotional outpouring. And I think it helps shift their perspective and give them both clarity. Deborah in particular, I think, realizes how much she needs Ava and how she really did set her up to fail because of all that happened at the end of season 3. She really isn't starting out with sure footing because Deborah takes the job from her and says you're not the right person for it. So it's, I think, it's sort of like the mid-season climax to have them come together and try and move past all of that. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think that they both realize that the thing that's magical about their relationship is creating together and having fun and following the fun. So I think that's something that hopefully unlocks things for them. But obviously it's a really hard moment for Ava because, she's been in this pattern before. And when you are in a relationship with someone who is a narcissist, which some might say Deborah is, those patterns repeat themselves. So she's doing it sort of cautiously because you never know what the future holds.